He was running late, third time this week, and the river path was just a shortcut, not a destination. But something made him slow down. An old man sat alone on the bench at the far end, not sleeping, not on a phone, just sitting, watching the water like it owed him something. He looked ancient, not in a fragile way, in a carved from stone way. White stubble, eyes that caught the morning light strange, like they were made of something older than the face wearing them. Arjun told himself he kept walking. He didn't. You look like a man who's always arriving, the old man said, without looking up. Arjun stopped. Sorry. Never somewhere. Always arriving somewhere. The old man finally looked at him. Sit. It wasn't a request. Arjun sat. He didn't know why. They watched the river for a moment. What do you want? The old man asked. I'm sorry? In life, what do you want? Arjun laughed, nervous, polite. That's a big question for. It's the only question. The old man turned back to the river. And you don't know the answer. That's why you're always running. Arjun's phone buzzed. He stood. I have to go. I'm already late, the old man said. Yes. Arjun walked away quickly. He told himself the conversation was nothing, just a strange old man. He thought about it all day. The next morning he was early. He told himself it was coincidence. A different route. He just happened to leave 5 minutes earlier. The old man was there. You came back, the man said. I just walked this way. A small smile. What is your name? Arjun. I am no one in particular. He gestured at the bench. Sit, Arjun. Arjun sat, this time without hesitation, which bothered him slightly. You thought about my question, the old man said. It wasn't a question. A little. And? I want security, a good job, maybe a family someday. Respect. The old man nodded slowly, like a teacher waiting for a student to realize they've answered the wrong question. Those are things you want around your life, he said. I asked what you want from your life. Arjun stared at the river. A leaf floated past and disappeared around the bend. I don't know, he finally said. I honestly don't know. The old man said nothing, just nodded, like this was the most important thing Arjun had ever admitted. They sat in silence for a while. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was strange. The silence felt full. Same time tomorrow? Arjun asked, standing. The old man didn't answer, just watched the river. The next day, the bench was empty. Arjun stood there for 20 minutes. He felt foolish. Of course, the man wasn't there. He was a stranger, a random encounter. This wasn't a movie. He started walking home. Halfway across the bridge, he saw the old man below, crouched near the water's edge, looking at something in the mud. Arjun scrambled down the bank. What are you looking at? Come see. He crouched beside him. In the mud, a small crab was flipped on its back, legs scrambling uselessly at the air. The old man watched it. Aren't you going to flip it back? Arjun asked. Are you? I. Arjun reached down and gently turned the crab right side up. It sat still for a moment, then scuttled sideways into the shallows. The old man stood, knees cracking, and looked at Arjun with something warm in his expression. Why did you do that? He asked. Because it was struggling. But it couldn't ask for your help. It couldn't thank you. It doesn't even know you exist. So? So. The old man began walking. Why does a thing need to be useful to you for you to care about it? Arjun followed him without being asked. I don't know. It just felt right. Remember that feeling? The old man said quietly. It will matter later. They walked the whole river path without speaking. At the end, the old man simply turned and disappeared down a side street. Arjun stood alone, heart beating strangely fast. He couldn't explain why. That week, Arjun couldn't sleep. He'd had a fight with his manager, a bad one. He'd been passed over for a promotion, given instead to someone who'd been there half as long. He spent the evening cycling through anger, self pity, and the kind of quiet despair that feels like fog. He found himself at the river at midnight. He didn't plan it. The bench was empty. Of course it was. He sat anyway. What do you want from your life? He sat with that question in the dark, really sat with it, not deflecting, not answering quickly. The water moved. The city hummed behind him. He realized, sitting there, that he had built his entire sense of self worth on a structure that didn't belong to him. Someone else's ladder, someone else's definition of success, someone else's timeline. And he'd been suffering inside that borrowed structure for years. A strange calm came over him. Not happiness, something quieter, clearer. He thought about the crab. Why does a thing need to be useful to you for you to care about it? He pulled out his phone, made a note, 3 words. Then he went home and slept better than he had in months. 2 days later, the old man was back on the bench. He looked thinner. Or maybe Arjun just noticed more now. You had a hard week, the old man said. How do you know? A smile. You walk differently. Less performance in your step. Arjun sat. I was passed over for a promotion. Hmm. And I realized, he paused, I've been living someone else's life, following someone else's map. The old man looked at him for a long moment. What was in the note? He asked. Arjun froze. What note? The one you wrote at midnight. The silence stretched. Arjun's skin prickled. How did you... What was in it? Arjun looked at the river. 3 words. Tell me. A long pause. I was here. The old man closed his eyes. Yes, he said softly. Yes. I don't fully understand it yet, Arjun admitted. You don't need to. Understanding comes after the living, not before. The old man reached into the breast pocket of his jacket and produced a small, folded piece of paper. He held it out without looking at Arjun. Arjun took it. Don't open it yet, the old man said. When? You'll know. They sat until the city got loud. Then the old man stood, slowly, with the dignity of a man who has stopped rushing toward anything. Will you be here tomorrow? Arjun asked. The old man paused. I'm always somewhere, he said, but rarely the same place twice. He walked away. Arjun turned the folded paper over in his hands, did not open it. The next morning, the bench was empty again. Not just not there, gone. Arjun asked the chai vendor nearby, the one who sat up at sunrise every morning, if he'd seen the old man. Which old man? The one who sits on that bench, white stubble, old jacket. The vendor shook his head. Only you sit on that bench, brother, for the last 2 weeks. Arjun stared at him. Every morning, the vendor continued. You come, you sit, you stare at the river. Sometimes you talk to yourself. A shrug. City people. Arjun walked back slowly, sat down. The paper was still in his pocket. His hands were trembling slightly as he unfolded it. Inside, in small, careful handwriting, the only thing that was ever real was your attention. Most people spend their lives waiting to start living, after the promotion, after the relationship, after the fear passes. But life is not a waiting room. The quality of your life is simply the quality of what you notice, not through the lens of what it means for you, or what you'll do with it, or what others will think. Just look. A crab in the mud, a leaf on water, a stranger on a bench. Presence is not a reward for achieving enough. It is the only currency that was ever real. You were here. That was always enough. That was always everything. Arjun read it twice, then a third time. He looked up. The river moved. A bird landed on the railing nearby, cocked its head at him, and flew away. He watched it go, really watched it, not thinking about what it meant, not reaching for his phone, not already somewhere else in his mind. Just a bird, just this moment, just the morning light breaking gold on the water. And something in his chest loosened, something he hadn't even known was clenched. He understood then what the old man had been showing him the whole time. Not a philosophy, not a teaching, a way of being. The suffering wasn't coming from the job, from the rejection, from the years of running. It was coming from never being where he actually was. Every moment spent elsewhere, in worry, in ambition, in performance, was a moment of his life he had simply missed. And life, it turned out, was made of nothing but moments. The man who sees what is in front of him, without agenda, without waiting for life to settle down first, that man is already free. Arjun folded the paper and placed it in his chest pocket, close. Then he sat for a while longer, not arriving anywhere, just here.